All right. So I want to start off by saying thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules and joining us today. My name is Jess, and I'm the marketing manager here at Index.io. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, just place them in the chat window and we'll answer them at the end. We will also be recording this, and the link will be in the follow-up email. So I'm sure it's no secret to any of you that the legal world is facing a boatload of challenges with electronic discovery. Challenges like data accessibility, scalability, management, and overwhelming costs. And these challenges are the exact reason Index.io was created. We took the latest technologies and made the most comprehensive e-discovery tool in the industry. So what's so special about us? Well, for starters, Index.io is a true do-it-yourself intuitive platform. This means you can get up and running in minutes without ever talking to a sales rep or ever utilizing a project manager. We also cut traditional processing times from days to minutes with our auto scale technology. Need to fire up Index.io on the go? It's not a problem. We offer a free mobile iPad app that's easy, intuitive, and secure. You can literally review, code, redact, and organize your e-discovery documents no matter where you are. Index.io is also the only e-discovery solution that provides a daily hosting model. And I'm sure you're wondering what this means. Well, it means you have more predictable billing, easier project management, and no minimum hosting charges. There are also no long-term restricting contracts, no licensing fees, no user fees, and no minimums per month. And now for the main event. For today's presentation, we'll be talking with Harry, David, and Derek with one of our premier partners, Legal Outsourcing 2.0. They are one of our on-demand review partners, and you'll learn more about this partnership as well as how they can help you too. Austin, our support representative here at Index.io, is going to lead the discussion for you today.
All right, thanks for that intro, Jess, and thanks everybody for joining us today. Harry, can you start off and just give us a little bit of background info about Legal Outsourcing 2.0?
Sure. Thanks, Jess, and thanks, Austin. Legal Outsourcing 2.0 is a technology company that employs upper-tier lawyers, American lawyers in India, overseeing Indian lawyers, that allows us to do high-quality legal work for American lawyers, American law firms, and American companies. We do a different variety of things. We do some technology things. We are involved with creating, if you will, the annotation work that's used to create the algorithms that are used to find legal concepts in documents and unstructured data. And we also do a significant amount of use of those high-tech tools. And we do document reviews of all shapes and sizes, from the very large hundreds of thousands of documents to, I think we're just finishing up one now that we started this week that was a few hundred documents or 1,000 documents, something like that. So we have ridiculously high quality people, lawyers on site in India. David has worked for Baker McKenzie. Derek has worked for Jenner and Block and Milbank Tweed, who bring that, if you will, caliber of experience to bear, so that we can ensure that the work is done at a top American quality and delivered at a lower price than otherwise would be available or could be done domestically.
All right, and what's your role within the company?
I am the CEO. I get to make sure that on a broad level stuff that things run as they should. And I get to talk to people like Brian when putting deals together and when we're trying to deliver quality for clients.
All right, excellent. So I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with you guys. So what's that process like if we wanted to get started? If, say, I'm an end user and I want to hire you guys to be an on-demand review team. I know in our tool, users would go in, they'll fill out the form, and then we put them in contact with you guys. Where does it go from there?
Well, typically what happens is I would get the form. I would either call initially Brian, or if everything was crystal clear, as sometimes happens, I would then contact David Batt, who is in India. And then he would sort of take it to there. From there, we would put together a call with the client and get the gory details. David would drill down onto what he needs to do to get going, and then everybody would be off to the races.
All right, excellent. And I know from our agreement with you guys, I think we can provide usually at least one on-demand reviewer same day. But you mentioned you guys have a variety of team sizes working. What do you see most often? Do you usually see large review teams coming in, or just a handful here and there?
It's really kind of dependent. I mean, we've done a review for 3 or 4 months with like 15 reviewers for hundreds of thousands of documents, and we have like 1 or 2 reviewers working on a project for a week, and so it could be all over the place, and as it relates to that. So there really isn't any typical, because everybody's needs tend to be unique.
Gotcha. Yeah, whatever the client happens to need, and I think we request that info when you fill out the form, like how many reviewers you're expecting and kind of what time frame you're looking at. What would you say is the one thing that your users really like about legal outsourcing? What's the kind of feedback you guys get that's generally most heard?
Well, typically it's the quality of the work that we're able to deliver. I've had, like, for example, the first review that I remember working on, it was a lawyer that had won the ABA award for contributions to intellectual property, and we did a fairly simple job for him, but it was amazing, and was glad to serve as a reference when we started out. And I have similar people that are like in charge of litigation support for AmLaw 100 law firms saying those things. So I think what's really surprising is everybody knows in some ways that you can do something less expensive in India, and you can. Sometimes the quality isn't going to be what you want it to be, and sometimes there's some issues you need to overcome. But by having a top-flight AmLaw 100 lawyer in India on the other side of the phone and getting back the same qualities that they would expect to do here in the United States is what I think really surprises people.
All right, awesome. Well, I think we're going to transition over to some questions more about the actual software experience with Index.io. How many different people do you guys have trained and working in Index.io at the company?
Well, the nice thing about it is we have an instance of Index.io that we can train anybody on. You guys as a partner are great because you basically put us in a position where if somebody's going to work on it, no matter who we put on it, they already have experience with the tool. And so it's nice that we have that, when we train new people to us, we hire people that are experienced. We train people that are new to us to be able to let them work on the tool before they get a call. So they already have experience with it.
So they're all trained up, ready, and familiar with it. How long have you guys been working with the Index.io system?
David, you have a better insight. I think it's about a year. Is that about right, David?
I think, no. Our first project was in March or April, a year and a half ago.
Year and a half.
So
okay.
It's been about 18 months. And we use it on a handful of projects. As Harry was mentioning, we do other things besides just document review, annotation, contracts extraction. But for document review, I would say that along with relativity, and usually it's not we who choose, what platform we use, but the two most frequent ones in our experience would be, Index.io and relativity. We have people with experience with it, and like Harry said, it's really great when you have new hires to be able to integrate a training session using Index.io, which is different from the standards of relativity or ringtail, which most of the people who join us actually have used. But this is Index.io is a very different, I would say, smoother and more user-friendly experience for most of the new hires, as opposed to our tech people or people who get more involved. But for first-level review, the people who train on it really seem to enjoy it and get it quickly.
Yeah, and that's sort of one of the things we've built the platform around, is being a real do-it-yourself experience. A lot of these other review platforms, you kind of almost have to be a DBA or have database experience in order to use them effectively. And Index.io makes that all user-facing, has a nice interactive GUI. You can do a lot of powerful things with very little training. How long does it usually take when you guys bring a new member on to get them up to speed? Do you guys have like an onboarding process? And about how long does that take?
It kind of depends. We've had various processes. Sometimes we've had a process that would take a period of weeks and introduce them to all sorts of different things. But basically, depending on their experience level, it may be a matter of 2 or 3 days. And it's just a function of what particular type of task they're going to be doing. But when we have somebody with document review experience, like I say, having the instance available to us just allows us to have somebody spend an hour or two with them and get them up to speed. If they've worked on other document review tools, it doesn't take them very long to pick it up.
Excellent. So when you guys first started up a year and a half ago, what was that startup process like? Were there any upfront costs or any points of friction that you ran into kind of getting familiar with the tool and getting everything purchased and licensed?
No problems at all. As a matter of fact, it's been a real joy. We have probably recommended Index.io to somewhere between 5 and 15 different potential users. These wouldn't necessarily be end users, but people that would be needing an appropriate tool as part of their offerings. It's quality stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, there's 3 real drivers for me that make Index.io different and a very appreciated partner. One, the product's great. It does a very nice job as it relates to litigation document reviews. 2, the price is great. You're not having to buy something with a huge truck, because most litigation doesn't need a used truck. A regular car will do the trick. And the other piece is that the quality of the people from Brian on down is top notch. You're getting appropriate quality, kind people on the other end of the phone, which is what you need. You don't need a typical. If you're going back 20 or 30 years ago, the only people that would basically be doing document reviews were AmLaw 100 firms with one group of geeks against another groups of geeks, and the other stuff was being done manually, for want of a better term, by paper. Now, document reviews electronically are being done almost all the time by everybody, and so having a simple tool with a simple solution that is intuitive is just highly valuable, because you're not fighting World War III all the time. Sometimes it's your mom and pop case that you need the tool for.
Yeah, absolutely. And we market a lot to some of those smaller firms. I think there's a document up on our website showing that the vast majority of law firms in the U.S. Are between, less than a dozen people. And so having a tool like this that's easy to use and doesn't have any initial upfront costs, no licenses to purchase, unlimited user accounts can be created. It really is a versatile platform that kind of helps some of the smaller groups.
Yeah, I think the number is actually, Austin, it's like 80% of the lawyers work in law firms of 5 or less lawyers.
Yeah, very, very small teams. So you mentioned a little bit the support here. Have you guys had any experience with our customer support resources? I know we have a lot of tutorial videos and articles. We have a live chat feature and phone support here. What's your experience been like with all of that?
I think David and Derek have better to chime in on that. I could just tell you that when we've had a situation where we needed some sort of customized assistance, it was readily available. But David, Derek, why don't you're better off on that one.
Yeah, I remember on our very first review, we had some issues. We needed the notes field to be customized in certain ways, and I was amazed that it was Brian McHughes, the co-founder and CEO of the company, that was available to help, walk me through what needs to be done, as an interim fix, and then, within, I think 3, maybe 4 days maximum, he had spoken with his tech team, who had customized some changes to the notes fields that made things much easier to input data and then ultimately export. But Yeah, I was very impressed that we had the CEO dealing with us. At the time, we'd only been around for 6 months, so a little no-name startup, and just got great service and customized as well, um, and also just had a very humane and understanding approach to the thing. You know, no attitude or oh, file a ticket, you know, we'll get back to you. Just very, very down to earth,
Yeah.
asking what we need. Saying, you know, it couldn't be done immediately, but we'll look into it. And even in those 3 days where we had to do things more manually, he did provide some valuable advice that sped things up. So that was my only experience having to rely on any technical kind of support. I'm not sure if Derek on the projects he was managing had anything, anyone he had to reach out to.
Yeah, I can say that me and the tech support team became best friends every time I had a project, because we had lots of unique requirements for the cases we were doing. Even, you know, the exporting had to be done a specific way. So I know they were very quick to respond, even with the time difference. Most of the time, they were good to email me back. Sometimes they'd even try to call me if something had to go on. But everything we requested, and especially since the projects I was working on had such tight deadlines, we didn't really have time to wait for somebody to, you know, spend several days trying to fix the ticket or try and add certain fields. And it seemed like every single time that I sent a request, it was done so quickly that it made it much easier to finish the projects on time, to meet those tight deadlines. And really, they helped customize almost everything that we needed. And also, if we had any issues, sometimes they would even help do the work that we normally would do, just if we were having difficulty figuring it out ourselves. So I know I don't think I've dealt with any tech support or customer support system that's been so quick to help. And I know for the projects I managed that I don't think we could have completed them without that kind of assistance.
Well, that's great to hear. We definitely take pride in our support staff here. We try to get everything responded to during business hours anyway, within an hour from the time it comes in. So quick turnaround time on that. And you mentioned we were even able to get some custom features written. We're not always able to do that, but we have a shorter development cycle here, so we can kind of focus on that customer feedback and see what are people requesting, what's something that's going to be universally helpful to have in the system, and we focus on those, so that it's really a quick to update system when changes need to be made like that. From working in the tool, do you guys have a favorite feature or favorite part that you've run across? Maybe a chart or a graph or a search resource, something that was really helpful while you were in there working?
I was hoping you'd ask that because especially you have tight deadlines. You first thing as a project manager, you know, you go into Index.io, you click on the project you're working on, and the first thing you see is this graph with the burn down rate. And sometimes it's usually, you know, in my experience, it's usually been, you know, a relief. But sometimes it sounds an alarm bell if your team is moving too slowly. But it basically stops you having to ask your tech lead or someone to keep metrics of how many documents are reviewed and how many hours, this and that. The initial page shows you the burn down graph with the total amount of documents, the deadline that you're aiming for, and then given what's reviewed, you have 2 lines. I think a blue one and an orange one. So you could see whether you're ahead of the curve, whether you're behind the curve, yeah. Luckily, I've never had a heart attack by looking at it. But sometimes if you're behind, that's what you need. And like I said, it saves time gathering metrics and generating reports. And so that is very simple, but very useful and supportive. And then, yeah, the other thing would be just the support service. the great support we received. I have a list of feedback from my tech guy. You know, I'm more of the bigger pictures, and I say what I want, and other people execute. But my tech lead was also quite impressed. It was his first time using one of the newer softwares, and he was equally impressed with the more of the technical, you know, batching, bulk coding, document viewers, you know, pop-up windows in a document viewer that makes it very easy to go back to the document list at any time. So those were my you know, initial favorites.
All right, awesome. Derek, did you have anything to add, a favorite feature on your end?
Sure, I would say the thing that for the specific projects I was working on, we were looking for very specific types of data. And so I think the feature where you have similar documents where you can pull them up if you find the information you're looking for in a document, just right there on the coding panel, you have the option to look for similar documents. That saved us a lot of time. The other thing we used a lot was kind of looking at the different extensions and also the size, because some of the times on my project, you'd have to enter data manually. And so if we were able to see the file extension size, and then focus, you know, the fastest people on those ones, because we knew those might take a longer amount of time. And it just helped us, those two features alone helped us to pinpoint the exact documents that were most important, that would have the most important information, and then to also allocate the resources in the way that we were able to complete the project on time. Because like I said, a lot of the projects I usually deal with, the time is of the essence. And so just being able to, you know, divide up the team appropriately and have them tackle the documents in specific orders as to what might take the longest or what might have the most relevant information, definitely saved us a lot of time. And conversely to that, we were able to use the tools to kind of pinpoint things that were probably not important at all and just burn through those documents really quickly. So all of that together meant that the time management, as well as even the quality control, greatly improved, because we were able to see what was the most likely important documents, what was most likely something that needed to be double or triple checked to make sure that we were capturing it, and then also to see what was completely just fluff and we could go through really quickly and just push out of the way. So I know as far as management goes, it helped us a lot with getting everything done in a timely manner and in a quality manner too.
All right, all great to hear. Well, we're nearing the bottom of the hour here. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to say? Any advice to anyone considering our product or maybe looking to partner with you guys on an on-demand reviewer type project?
Yeah, this is Harry. My overall advice would be it's a quality, intuitive tool. It is priced right, and you're dealing with quality people. So it is in my view, the tool of choice, one that I recommend for people doing litigation document review. And why you might want to use us would be we could also give you a quality solution at a very affordable price, in relationship to what you would normally pay for the type of work that we would deliver for you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for the feedback and for taking the time out of your day to meet with us and discuss Index.io a little bit today. To all of our viewers, we're going to be sending out this recording to our mailing list once it's wrapped up if you'd like to review, or if maybe you didn't get to catch it while it was live. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us, and good luck on your next document review projects.
All right. Thank you for hosting, Austin and Jess.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Take care, guys.
Okie dokie. Bye.